This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And just to keep in line with last week, we're going to remind you guys to like this video, comment on this video, share this video on social media, and please subscribe to the channel as we march towards 100 subscribers by the end of the year. It's not that many, but we appreciate every single one of you. So today is what, Will?
It's Manic Mondays.
What do we do on Manic Mondays, Will?
We talk about something cool in the gaming news. And today we're talking about Shenmue 3.
Yeah, Shenmue 3. So I'm going to give you guys some statistics because that's what I do. I give you statistics, and then Will jibes in and makes fun of me.
Exactly. You finally figured it out, Chris.
All right, so just going to start this video out with shout out to Adam Korlick for covering this development the past 4 years. We're looking forward to his entirely unbiased review of Shenmue 3. He's not like the biggest fan or anything. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing that video though when he finally puts it out because he gets so excited about Shenmue. So this was originally a planned release for the Sega Dreamcast, but it was canceled. And that was due to the Dreamcast not performing as well as Sega had hoped.
It falling on its face.
Yes. So at E3 2015, at Sony's press conference, the series creator Yu Suzuki, who I believe does, what's that other, Yakuza? I think he's also in charge of the Yakuza series, or he was in charge of the Yakuza series, announced the crowdfunding of Shenmue 3 on Kickstarter.
Cool.
They hit the initial $2 million Kickstarter goal in 8 hours. It was like one of the fastest Kickstarters to be successful like ever at the time. The final total of the Kickstarter was $6.33 million, with 69,000 plus people backing the project.
Dang. Clearly people wanted it.
Originally, the game was to be released in December of 2017. However, due to development delays occurred during, and it was moved to the second half of 2018. And then eventually it was delayed again till November 19th of this year when it finally released. I think they hit a lot more development snags than they expected. They had a lot of assets that they could reuse and just kind of up-res, but overall the development cycle was a lot more difficult than they had anticipated. So due to the success of the Kickstarter and the serious following the project had gathered, Sega decided to re-release Shenmue 1 and 2 on the Xbox One and the PS4, which is pretty cool if you ask me, to get something like that done. And it sold really well, to my understanding. So during this development process, some minor criticisms have come up, but we're going to discuss those in a little bit. But overall, what are your thoughts on reviving a dead franchise like Shenmue and really bringing it back to the popular light? I mean, what do you think of all this, Will? I think it's pretty neat myself.
Yeah. I'm definitely a nostalgic gamer, so I love when they revive franchises that have been dead since I was a child, essentially. And I don't know, it's really cool for people who are really passionate about this series, and they finally have gotten the third game. I hope they're okay with the third game that they finally got. But it's honestly, like, I'm always excited to hear these stories where a passionate group of developers actually got to go back, finish a series that they wanted to finish years later. And in an interesting way, because it wasn't, being backed, well, initially at least, it wasn't being backed by a big publishing company. They went on Kickstarter, and they did it themselves. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you get people like Adam and other
who's like,
fans.
Look how animated he is.
He was like super excited about this, and you can tell just by the way he's acting in the video.
He can hardly contain himself.
No, it was really cool watching how hyped he got over this, because I enjoy that. Even if I'm not as hyped as the person who's doing it, I still get hyped over somebody else's hype.
Well, he's the kind of person that sells this to me. It's like, man, this must be a great series and a great game. I gotta get it.
It's actually like, to my understanding, it's got some like choices, dialogue options, kind of like a Mass Effect type of thing. But at the same time, it's like a fighting game. So like a lot of the battles are like fighting. So it's kind of different. I actually might be interested in Shenmue 3 in the 1 and 2. But I have to get through some of my backlog.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty big backlog at this
point. We were
point.
just talking about this. I had to put some games back over Black Friday at GameStop. I already have like 40 games I haven't played.
Right. Like today I was at a store and they had Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D,
Oh man.
$13.
Hmm.
I was like, but I've already played Ocarina of Time like 4 times, and I already own it on the GameCube, on the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition, and on the Wii U. And it's like, well, I don't really need another copy of this game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like one of those things.
Hmm.
But I mean, they had like a $70 million budget for this series, because Shenmue is supposed to be like a saga, not like 3 games, not 4 games, like 5, 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
So overall, and I think he stated that there will be a Shenmue 4. So it seems like it's gonna do some pretty cool stuff.
I'll believe that when I see it.
I think they're already talking about it.
Yeah, I'm saying I'll believe that that's going to come out when I see it come out.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But overall, seeing a series like Shenmue revive like that, it just gives me hope that some other series could maybe make it back to the limelight again.
Basically, any rare property. An actually good Sonic. Let's just pretend that those other ones haven't happened.
Sonic Mania.
Okay, well, other than Sonic Mania, okay.
I was going to say, that's pretty great.
Yeah, okay, 1 game out of how many years?
I think Yakuza was like, not revived, but remastered several times in the last
I think
few
Yakuza
years
is
too.
on Game Pass now.
I think you're right, yeah, might be. But let me see if I can find the Shenmue 3 trailer. I'll put that up in the background now.
You want to talk about some of the controversies now?
Yeah, we can start talking about the controversies. I mean, you know it's a controversy when somebody like the Quartering covers it.
Got some spicy news for you today.
Yeah, he was getting excited. He's getting animated. But, I mean, so the first controversy, I think, that really needs to be stated, they originally promised backers that if they wanted to get this game on PC, they could get it through Steam. And while it may not be a big deal to a lot of people, it is kind of going back on a promise to go from Steam to an Epic exclusive. And I believe it's like a year. But they did offer refunds to anybody who felt that they were slighted.
Eventually.
So,
they didn't do it.
eventually. But, I mean, they did the right thing. So I can't fault them for wanting to get the money to produce future things like Shenmue 4 out of the Epic store. But they probably could have done it a little better. I mean, from the PR standpoint, it was not a good look. But getting to the right thing eventually, in my opinion, they did the right thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's kind of a non-controversy. It's not really a controversy anymore.
Yeah, I think people are still put off by it, that they sort of just did it, didn't tell anyone, didn't communicate. What they really should have done is say, we're a pretty small development company doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We need the money, and hopefully you guys understand.
Yeah, because EaseNet's not their main focus. I don't believe was Shenmue 3. They've got a lot of other properties to do as well. But in general, like, this was a passion project for Yu Suzuki, with some help from Sony. I don't know exactly what they got other than the marketing. I don't know the finer details, but in general, a lot of people helped make this happen, especially the backers, the 69,000 people that jumped right on that Kickstarter and put their money out there to get it done in 2015, 2016, whatever time frame that Kickstarter was done in. So it was a big effort by the community to make this happen, and I think it's cool to see a bunch of gamers get together to bring back a franchise they care about. The other couple things, the limited run games was handling the special editions, which was, I don't know if it's a controversy, but it's kind of weird to think that a AAA publisher would require like limited run games to produce it. I mean, they put out good stuff, so I can't really complain. But I think that it was available to non-backers, which left a sour taste in some people's mouth. Like, they didn't have to wait all those years to get it. I don't know. But that's where it was eventually released, was through...
Well, didn't they promise a lot of that stuff to just the backers, and then they end up giving like additional things to people who bought it later?
I think so. Well, that was the retail copies. Some of the retail editions came with some extra DLC that was not promised to backers. Like, if you bought the retail edition, and that was the second thing. was that some DLC was locked to the retail editions, and it was never promised to the Kickstarters. Like, if you look through the comment section, it's like, well, they never promised this to us. So it's like, you can't really get mad about it because they didn't promise it to us. But at the same time, it would have been nice to say, here, you guys shed your money, here's some DLC.
Exactly. They're the ones who made the game actually possible, so...
It's yeah. It's not like the worst thing in the world. I've seen much worse things from EA, Activision, and
oh yeah,
those kinds of companies. But it still would have been nice to see them, and maybe they will, and maybe they already did, and I just didn't know it. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it since I don't know the whole details on that. But it still not good for PR on that front. And then the third thing, no Xbox One release. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure what involvement Sony really had, but it would be cool to see them eventually release it on Xbox One.
Yeah, especially because it was originally supposed to be a Dreamcast title, and the original Xbox is essentially a spiritual successor to the Dreamcast. So it's like, kind of, you can make the argument, like, why wouldn't it just stay on that family of systems? So I'm a little disappointed that it's not on Xbox, in all honesty.
EaseNet produces a lot of stuff for Sony, so that might be why.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a heritage to the game, or history to the game, so it'd been cool if they released them both.
Yeah, if you got so the first game was released on the Dreamcast. The second game was released in PAL regions on the Dreamcast, but in US, the only way to get it was on the Xbox. So now the third game's on the PS4.
Yeah, it makes sense, definitely.
It does. You just gotta change systems every couple generations, and you'll get a new Shenmue.
Yes.
Anyway, regardless of the controversies that we discussed that are kind of non-controversies at this point, I appreciate the fact that when you bring a community together, like the Shenmue community, make stuff happen. Next to the Old Republic 3, let's see it.
Yes, please.
Kickstarter. Yeah, right. EA won't pay attention to us. We'll just call it Space Wars, Knights of the Old Republic 3. And then it won't be a Star Wars franchise. And you'll have the Kadai and the myth.
Yes. Nice.
No. Please.
Sounds amazing. Sounds great. Let's do it.
Yes. We'll start it right now. The CHRILLCAST Kickstarter. We won't just pocket the money and run.
Yeah, definitely not,
Oh, man. So if you guys like this video, we would appreciate that. If you share this video on social media, also appreciated. And if you comment on this video, we really appreciate it.
We appreciate all of those things, yes.
And if you could do us one more favor and subscribe to this podcast, that would be great. As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Will.
And we will see you
next CHRILLCAST.